Wakey wakey! It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey wakey! It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey wakey! It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey wakey! It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey wakey! It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey wakey! It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning. It is indeed the 20th day of March 2023. My name is MC Kalia. This is the Morning Glory Show as usual. This is the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya online today. We are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is a photography studio situated in Eldoret, Zion Mall, Basement A. Na leo katanuka. Now, we have 3 presidents on set, or rather 2 presidents and 1 former president. Okay, this is a president of Students Union, or rather University Students Union. So with me is Kipsaro Boit. He's the former chairperson of Moi University Students Association, commonly known as MUSO. Yeah. Then we have the guy who currently occupies that position. His name is Mr. Kefas. So Kefas is in, and also with us is Babu. Now, this is not Babu we know. This is Victor Babu, who is the president of RVTTI. I hope I'm saying it. RVTTI. Okay, there's so many T's. So that means he'll be serving us tea this morning. Anyway, so before I go to them, allow me to also remind you that if you're ever interested in fashion, you need to visit D-Square School of Fashion Design. It is the best fashion design in Eldoret. Now, one of the best and good things about learning from D-Square School of Fashion Design is that they are very affordable tuition fees. Now, more than that is that you also learn from the best, because just adjacent to the School of Fashion is the Fashion House. So that means that anytime you want to do practicals, unaingia kwa Fashion House, unapata wale wamezoea, wana uraibu wa kufanya hii kitu, and they are able to help you out with that. Now, without wasting much time, allow me to then give a chance to our guest to say hi. I'll start with Babu, who is not Babu Owino. Bro, say hi to our viewers.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Victor Kiprotich alias Babu, all the way from RVTI Eldoret, I'm the current RVTI chairman, and I represent close to around 12 to 14,000 students.
Umesema uko na constituency yako. Yes. Anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. Kefas, say hi to our viewers.
Good morning, viewers. Go by the name Kefa Eric. Comrades call me Opas. I happen to serve in the position of the president of the 35th Council, MUSO. I'm happy to be here today to deliberate on union affairs. Asante.
Asante sana, na hata hivyo pia tuna rais wa zamani, rais ambaye aliongoza miaka ya hapo nyuma, mzee Kipsaro Boit. Karibu sana.
You know, Kalia, calling me mzee is quite, it's quite offensive. Yeah, but sure enough, my name is Kipsaro Boit. Kipsaro Cheborge Araboit. I mean, that's my name. I was the 27th chairman of Moi University Students Organization, and I'm happy to be here with Opas, a good friend, and of course I'm happy to be hosted here today, because this is a good conversation.
Now that you've introduced arithmetics into all these, Opas, give us your number.
My phone number?
Not your phone number, bro. You said it's the 27th.
I think Opas said it. Maybe you just didn't get it, but Opas,
I am the 35th.
35th.
I come exactly 8 years after him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's like a whole real presidential term.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, if you're already tuned in, this is the Morning Glory Show. It is the most comprehensive talk show online today. So make sure that you talk to me. Make sure that we engage. Make sure that at the end of this particular broadcast, you've actually gotten something from these gentlemen. And today we're just asking ourselves, what exactly does it take to first of all occupy that position? What does it mean for them? And at the end of it all, what is their stand about the current affairs in the country? And so before going far, I'll start with Babu. Babu, what does it take to lead 14,000 students? And before you go there, start, of course, with the discipline that you are currently undertaking.
Okay. As the sitting RVTI chairman or president, I think maybe when you say what does it take to be the chairman of RVTTI, it all takes that informal informal discipline that you have to portray yourself, to put yourself in that shoe of the students, to occupy yourself in that position and in that suffering that comrades are in at that moment. And that is why you see, like in RVTTI, our elections, we normally conduct them in that popular, one man, one vote. And you must reach every corner, every student and every corner of their residence, at least to mingle with them and at least to feel for them and have their own views, so that you can at least now come up and unite them. After uniting them, you can now start your campaigns and say that I feel for you guys and I need your support to steer forward and have that suffering that you are going through be articulated to the administration. As a RVTI chair, I can say that I am the link between the students and the administration and also to the outer world. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Kefa, what does it take to lead, okay, of course, Moi University, I don't know what's the population right now, but then of course it's a huge number, bigger than RVTTI, I know. It is more competitive. I've been there before. I've seen what usually happens. Bro, what does it take?
Well, Moi University is quite a unique constituent. We are 40,000 to the north. This includes main campus, annex campus, CHS, School of Medical Sciences, Nairobi and Mombasa. Those are 5 constituent campuses, all under the banner of Moi University. Well, that totals to a constituent of 40,000 and above per session, per academic year. So the campaigns are quite intense. It is argued not as intense as during Boyd's time, but it's quite a journey. It involves proper organization, being a reflection of your constituent with all the unique identities they come up with. Because we are currently in the dispensation of the University Amendment Act, which was signed by former President Uhuru Kenyatta on 18th of February 2018, which does not allow us to get elected directly. In my opinion, it's a half-baked law, which has been inherited from the United States, where we are elected by delegates who then become congressmen. So it's an indirect kind of election mode, which in my opinion is much more involving. But if you're able to convince the 25 or so to elect you who are directly elected by the people, then you surely get the sovereignty of the people. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And of course, that is one of those pertinent issues that we'll be looking at here. And he's introduced the issue of not as competitive as your time. Of course, one of the reasons is because of that particular law that now gives the delegates an opportunity to elect them, so it doesn't directly face the electorate, the real electorate. So one, of course, that must have reduced the intensiveness. But then I read an article recently saying that the students' leadership right now is just but a shadow of what used to happen maybe a few years back. Mr. Kipsaro, paint us a picture of your time.
I am extremely emotional about what happened in 2018. Because the sweetness of student politics is in the campaigns. It is in engaging with the people. It is giving an opportunity to these people to make a decision of their leader. And if we give every comrade an opportunity to actually elect their leaders, that is the sweetness of student leadership. What happened in 2018, to me, I would still feel that it is unconstitutional. And I want to request the current crop of student leaders to still review that amendment because it is disabling comradeship. I was elected by a very large number of students, and it gave me a very serious legitimacy within the university. I don't know how Kinaopas does it right now because you have delegates around 25. So when you have 25 people making a decision on behalf of 40,000, I have a feeling that that is disenfranchisement. It is not giving everyone an opportunity to choose their leader. However, it does not in any way suggest that the current crop of student leaders are not legitimate, because it is known that these delegates that have been elected are being given a mandate to go and decide the presidency and the executive arm of the student leadership after the election. So it is more like, I don't know, like the students are forced to forfeit their democratic right to a certain group of people to go and make a decision on their behalf. The risk in that is that what happens if it's only 25 people making a decision on behalf of 40,000? It is completely, in my opinion, not a very representative kind of way of electing our leaders, because Opas is a very popular student leader. But if he gives you the number of people who elected him, he will work around 25, out of 25. Yet he's representing 40,000 students. There's something unique about RVTTI, for example. The gentleman is talking about, was it 12 to 14,000?
14,000.
Yes, and there's a bit of difference on that. And I have a very strong feeling that any form of elections in this country should be aligned to the national constitution. So whatever the constitution of Kenya talks about an election process, any other form of elections should actually be aligned to it, so that we are teaching ourselves constitutionalism from the time we are doing the small elections to the time we are doing national elections. Because we are still electing the president directly as citizens of this country. I don't understand what informed the act to actually deny the students an opportunity to elect their president directly. Because I still don't get it, but now pass.
Okay, would you say
Yeah.
maybe it is because of the kind of powers that these guys used to have? You'd realize the examples of Kinababu taking the whole university into, I would say it was usually tense moments because of maybe the popularity to use the game.
I mean, all elections are tensed everywhere, even to date. Even with the system that Kenaopas are using right now, there's still tension. So it was not going to address any kind of tension. My biggest recommendation is, let us relook at that act. Let us give the comrades an opportunity to participate in a democratic process, to elect the topmost offices for themselves. Because what happens if some quack comes out with a lot of money, for example, and compromises the 25 people and tells them, I'll give you whatever amount of money to become the president. And this person is completely not popular, this person is completely not capable. There was a scenario, I would not want to go back to the old politics of Muso. I've been very keen. But there's a gentleman who ended up resigning because he was not capable of actually leading. But because of 1, 2, 3 things here and there, he was able to get to office. Some of us who have occupied the office know what it takes to be in that office. And I could not see that in the gentleman. I have no offense. I have no issues with the gentleman, but there is a character that we look for in student leadership that we missed in that gentleman. And true to my word, the gentleman could not finish his term.
Okay, we'll be coming back to that. Of course, we realize that it still holds a lot of emotional value to Kipsaro so many years later. We'd want to find out why so. But then before we go there, of course, Hosea D. Changlet says, good morning. We have Honorable Edison Rotich. When somebody, we need our president, Mika. Now, who is Mika? Now, let us know who Mika is.
Mika is a gentleman who was supposed to join us from Koitalel Samoei University College. I'm not sure if he's going to make it today, but when Edison, we will have an opportunity to have Mika Samata.
Okay, thank you so much. I think it's issues of logistics. I was asking Kipsaro Mbona University in Akwanga Reserve. Anyway, Asbel Kembai says good morning. Asema say hi to viongozi. Kipkorir. Now, I don't know why my comments are running up and down. Cliff Kipto, Kiprop Kembai says, Mr. Babu, keep breaking the glass ceiling. Then we have Kipsara Boys that says that guy is full of wisdom. Thank you so much for that. I can see also we have with us Kipkorir Kosgei says, oh yeah, Kusa. Okay, allow me to say Kusa. Hope the S is silent.
Yeah.
Kusa ako wapi? Okay, you realize that people are asking for Mika. So Mika actually, unfortunately, couldn't make it on time, but then maybe we'll host him in future, or if he makes it, then maybe we'll get a chance to say hi to you people. Nonetheless, feel free to ask this gentleman a question. Feel free to also interact with us, and beyond that also help us share this particular broadcast. Kama kuna comrades wametulia mahali wasukumie hii broadcast, wajua viongozi wao wako maeneo, si ndio? Now, before we come back to looking at how the politics is played, of course, we go back to issues. And Babu, somebody said that the issues remain same: lack of capital, and so forth and so on. What are the issues that currently affect the comrades? What are the comrades looking for currently as they go to vote a leader?
Okay, I think first and foremost about the issues of the comrades is that the comrades are more determined for that simplified life maybe in campus, in college, and of course in the university. Because when you talk of comradeship is not that life that we say it is a guaranteed life. We come from different backgrounds, and as a leader, they have entrusted us. Even before going to the campaigns, you go and seek their authority, so that you can represent their issues where they're facing challenges, basically basing on in terms of tuition fee. Again, when it comes to their upkeep, also among our campus or other campuses, they are facing challenges in terms of security, challenges again in terms of discrimination. You have to understand that being in RVTTI, being a leader in RVTTI, of course, we have a lot of students from different regions of this country. We have those from Nyanza, we have from Northeastern, and all diverse parts of this country. And for having said that, those students are facing myriad challenges in terms of even ethnic discrimination, because you have to understand that we are from a region where the president is coming from this Rift Valley, and the school is based in Rift Valley. And again, when it comes to the students coming from that opposition side, they are facing a lot of challenges from those students coming from this side. And as a leader, you must be at least give them an ear so that they can at least have that emotional feeling that we are being represented. We have a leadership that it is not biased in terms of any tribal lines, maybe not being also in terms of nepotism. And those are some of the issues that you have to assure them before going to that ballot, before them going to that polling booth on that very day of election. Yeah.
And coming to you, Kefa, we've seen memes of comrades. I know, funny as they may look, they are real. If I've seen a meme of somebody anaambiana, si unauza ugali shilingi ngapi? Akaambiwa 30 bob. Akasema supu napeana bure. Akasema unipe supu bure. Are you getting it? There was a meme that used to go around, sijui nirudi kwetu Kabenes. And you realize that as much as we joke with these things, what is the situation currently when everyone is crying of economy? What is the situation currently in our universities in terms of welfare and even how the students operate?
Well, you see, it is important to note that in the life of a youth, 4 years to 7 years are set aside for learning in high institutions. Well, these 4 years backed with hardship, which are endured within the economic system of the country as it is right now. So a comrade in an institution of higher learning, of course, is exposed to these particular hardships more than the man back in the village. And this does not allow the comrades to fully exploit their full potential in the institution. So it is real, the memes that you are seeing are quite a reflection of what is happening in the institutions. That is real. But it is the duty of unions to come in place and bridge that gap to lessen the economic burden of students in the institutions. So welfare begins from accommodation to food to entertainment. as lenient as it may sound, to allowing a comrade to feel in the institutional space and allow them to exploit their full potential. So institutions all over the country should narrow down their agenda on the welfare of students. And if that one is catered for, all the things go in smoothly. We have had cases of the suicidal thoughts. We have had cases of suicide itself. We have had criminal cases. And all these are backed by the hardship of students in the institutions. So it is a fact. It is a fact. You should visit us soon.
And Kipsaro Boit, of course, I told you we'll come back to the emotional attachment. And on top of that, of course, we'd want to see how much being a MUSO chairperson went ahead to shape the person you are today. How much of what you do right now reflects back to what you did as the MUSO chair? Of course, I can see Kipsaro already smiling.
I think, Kalia, I need to start keeping distance from you because you're somehow getting to know me too much, and I become uncomfortable when someone does that. But it is very emotional. The question that Kefa just answered, and of course, Bwana Babu, on the situation in campus, it's very dire. I joined Moi University in 2011. Somewhere on 29th of July. And my life was completely dependent on Higher Education Loans Board. I never got any other monies to pay for my school fees apart from Higher Education Loans Board money. And I got the minimum I could get. Disbursements were done in time. But these days, the disbursements are not done. Any other source of income. I would tell you this, and my friends know this. I used to cook pancakes in first year for survival. In hostel D214, I really have a lot of respect for that room because that is where I cooked pancakes. I used to cook 10 pancakes in the morning, and my friends, maybe they're not watching, the likes of Kinamokaya and other guys that we were in first year together, came and used to buy pancakes, 10 of them every morning for me to get an extra coin to actually survive in campus. And all these things modeled me to become the person I was. When there were elections that year, I went to some room and pretended I was also running for office. And some guys were really encouraged, and they thought that I was actually the best person to become an assistant secretary. And when the session was over, I was like, guys, I was just playing with your minds and all that. Of course, I was beaten up a little bit here and there, because people were actually aligning. And that is what motivated me and inspired me to actually venture into leadership. So I got into students' organizations, clubs here and there. I did a lot of good work. And by the time campaigns were coming, I had prepared myself very well. It was very competitive. I had George Bush being my very serious competitor. What Uhuru and Raila did in 2017 is what Bush and I did in 2014. I don't know where they got the notes. It wasn't a handshake per se, but we had to work together. So we co-opted him into government. We gave him some role, and that's how we
Atulia, acha kuwasumbua.
Yeah. But I have a lot of respect to George Bush. He was also he's a very focused leader. He's been doing some well out there. But it took us a lot of struggle to come out and look for leadership so that we can be part of the solution. And it was not a very simple journey. It took a lot of sacrifice, it took a lot of focus and concentration for us to climb from where we were, from cooking pancakes, to becoming the president of Moi University, which is a very serious position of leadership that I have a lot of respect for. So what makes me emotional is the process that actually inspired me to get into leadership. I went through it all. I once lived outside in Stage, outside the Moi University hostels, the Talai area. And I used to see the challenges that comrades were going through. I missed some marks. I actually stood in a lecture hall at some point, and I felt that was very uncomfortable. We cannot be in an institution of higher learning and have our students who are struggling to survive and pay fees, not actually getting the maximum services from these institutions of higher learning. That is what propelled me into leadership. And I'm happy, Bwana Opas. These are some legacies we left in humility. We never wanted to make a lot of noise. But you see your KCS campus, that is our own working as the 27th SGC. The KCS campus, the one that is next to the administration block.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that before I cleared campus, I had an opportunity to actually be in one of the lecture halls and do my exams in that place. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be coming back to you before I go to Kefa. I can see Kefa already ameanza kukunja shati. That means that the bench is getting hotter. Nonetheless, don't bring your issues. It's a foundation of knowledge here. And for a minute, I just want to come back to you, Kipsaro, because
Yes.
of course, you're still in the university environment, though elsewhere, you see the same issues. And when I was preparing, I singled out 4 areas to talk about today. One, it is how much the economy is hitting the comrades, because of course everyone is crying about economy.
Yeah.
2 was the issue of security, right?
Yeah.
3, we'd want to look at the issue of missing marks. Somebody says when you go to Moi, foundation of knowledge, then you should prepare to maybe stay there for some time. And this one also cuts across. And then there's the issue also of ethnicity. And tied to ethnicity, then there are other smaller things that we'd want to look at, because these are things that come to affect us later in life. I was looking at how university politics so much affects the people we grow to be.
Yeah.
And funny enough, it seems Babu had read my script for this particular day, because I'm trying to look at the smaller vices we see in community in relation to what we see later in life. There is a possibility that Babu will one day be a member of parliament.
Nice.
Or Kefa will be a governor.
Absolutely.
Right now, you'd see the passion in them, the burning passion in them to agitate for people's welfare. What happens when people climb ladders? Let's start with the issue of security. What do you think about security in campuses? Of course, talking about personal security and also the issues of the security at comrades.
When I joined Moi University, there was a guy called Peter Mashoka. Peter Mashoka was, what would I say? It's a myth, mythical, some sort of mysterious. Someone who used to appear with axes. And he would actually axe someone. And there are so many comrades who were attacked during our time. Much respect to Mwamburi Mwangombe, who was my senior chairman. He attacked Peter Mashoka personally. He's one person who had one-on-one experience with Peter Mashoka.
Peter Mashoka.
Yes, but eventually Peter Mashoka exited and Moi University became safe. And he was such a dreaded myth because I still don't understand what it was. But insecurity in campuses is a very serious issue. And it is an issue that may not be sorted by one party. It may not be done by the student leadership alone. It may not be done by the university administration alone. It may not also be done by the public administration alone. It is something that people have to come together. Just as you rightly mentioned, I am also working in a university right now at Koitalel Samoei University College, and we are also exposed to the same challenges that were there in other places. But there is a need for all these parties to come together and have a common approach, and that is what we've done in Koitalel Samuel University College. We have a security committee that comprises of all these parties. We have student representation in it. We have our staff in it in the security sector. We also have the local administration, including the chiefs and the village elders, being part of that conversation and ensuring that insecurity in our institution is addressed. And this is something that I would want to recommend to other institutions if it's not working there. Because despite all the efforts that you're doing, with the cost of living going up, with the drug and substance abuse in institutions, with so many other factors, insecurity is going to be definitely threatened. And I can't say that it can be completely be done away with, but there are initiatives that can be done among the stakeholders to ensure that our students are safe in their institutions.
Of course, Ababo, you're the person who introduced the issue of insecurity. Of course, we'll come back to the issue of tribalism and how tribal we are. Yeah. This is something that I would want all of us to be very frank about while we'll be talking about it. But let's talk about the issue of security. Of course, RVTTI has one of its campuses so close to town. I think there was a year I saw almost 2 demonstrations from the students about security. What exactly, what are the issues facing the security of students, and where do these insecurities arise within the campus situation, or rather the college situation?
Okay, thank you so much, Kalia. When we talk about security, insecurity in maybe in campus, because as I talk, I'm not talking about RVTTI alone. You see, what happens in RVTTI is a reflection of what happens in other campuses. When we talk about insecurity, it's all about we track these menace to add economic times. It is not that insecurity happens from that context that it is the outer people. It is comrades among comrades, you know, robbing themselves, performing that burglary act, you know, breaking into other comrades' hostels, breaking into other comrades' apartments or houses, so that they can at least get that daily bread. And so I can track this insecurity to tough economic times that we are facing as a country, and also tough economic times that the students specifically are facing. Because you cannot tell me that as even that higher educational loan board are dispersing, maybe it was TVET, they are dispersing around 35,000. Then they cut 28,000, they go to tuition fee, then you remain with upkeep of around maybe 7,000 to 5,000 there. That cannot sustain a comrade for that 9 months in being for one academic year. And I cannot assure you, or I cannot cheat you to say that the ELB or any other avenue of finance that the comrades are getting is satisfying their needs. And that is why we can say insecurity is becoming a major issue, because the comrades are more suffering in terms of sustaining their lives and sustaining also their lifestyle when it comes to even the social life, the social class. Comrades are yearning to have that social class of being celebrities. And more so, you cannot tell me that for me to wear a good shoe, and I come from that background in Turkana or in the Kerio Valley Belt, I mean, I cannot, if my parents are poor, I cannot manage. I cannot prevent. It cannot prevent me from stealing. Yeah? I have to steal. I have to perform that insecurity act.
And what can be done to sort this? Because of course we'll not be putting a stamp and saying we'll steal because we are poor. Then where do you think the buck stops? Who does the buck stop with?
Kalia, this guy should just cook pancakes, man. That thing can work. You don't need to steal.
Of course, I'm getting it from Kipsaro, but then from your own perspective, then
yes.
If you agree that the issue of insecurity, not only in campus but in the whole country,
yes.
Not only in campus but in the whole country, is an issue of hard economic times. How do we sort this? Does it mean that we'll never sort it because every day the shilling goes down? Then it means we are headed for more trouble. Does it mean that comrades will keep stealing? Will you ever held burglary and all that in schools?
Basically, Kali, I can say that as a country, we must not be slaves of the West. You see all these problems that are leading this country to the dogs is all that we are becoming now the slaves of the West. And one thing that we must realize as a nation is that we are that slave to work for us. That is our resources, those resources that God gave us. It is not that we lack anything as a country to sustain even education of the comrades and to sustain the livelihoods of this country. But the problem that I can track it all is that our leaders, and at that top notch of leadership, I can say that this problem is brought by our leaders who are entertaining the West. You see, I can reflect how Tanzania managed to come out from that handcuffs that were brought by the West, by the late John Pombe Magufuli. He managed to manipulate his country to work on its own resources. And that, we can say from that, the country working from its own resources, we can say, like in Elgeyo Marakwet County, you can talk of the Kenya Philosopher. If Kenya Philosopher had been opened as per now, we could at least have the company sponsoring students, the company sponsoring students in terms of giving them upkeep. When you come to Eldoret near RVTTI, we have the economic zone. If that economic zone could have been open, that was close to Tipsy, that KCC, it could have even given those comrades the opportunity to work, and we could have ended this insecurity menace, because I can track it that it is all about economic time that lead people to steal or whatever, perform any burglary activity. Yeah.
Of course, coming to Kefa, Babu says that this thing is actually looking at it inside out. Like, guys wamekosa kakitu, and that's where the problem comes in. Of course, first of all, coming to you, I would want to start introducing the issue of help, disbursements of help and all that. And also, you may start by mentioning something about security, then go to help. What is your attitude towards help at the moment? Do you feel it is helping? Do you feel it is delaying? And what can be done to improve what help can do for the students?
Well, last week we had a political expose at Nairobi, at the Nairobi Museum. And it was a committee where we had the panelists of the likes of George Munari and legislators from Parliament, both the National Assembly and Senate. And our submissions to them were, the help should be increased from an average of 35 to 200,000 per person per year.
Per person per year?
Yes, and we were not trying to be a little bit ambitious. It's because of, we believe the current crop of student leader believes that the government is not putting priority on comrades as it should. We have resorted to a government which is transitioning into different government within the state, which does not give priority to education, more so in the university sector. There's so much confusion in the education system, which culminates to the university level, which makes us a little bit unproductive to the job market. Now, if the help fees increase from an average of 35,000 to 200,000, then the students will be able to maneuver around the university in a student-centered life, which will enable them exploit their full potential, as I stated earlier. Students will be able to pay accommodation when they're supposed to pay fee when they're supposed to live a life that will enable them consume academic material as they should. Now, on the issue of security, as much I agree with my friend, I also disagree to a certain extent, because in Moi University, we totally are against insecurity tendencies. It might be caused by the hard economic times, but we have created channels where students can come and we can have a conversation about this. Kuna ile kitu comrades wanaita kuinama. Kuinama is a concept where students
Lunch, ukiona lunch ikikuja.
Yeah. Ukiona lunch ikikuja, you give it respect for it to pass. Unainama. You give it respect for it to pass. Now, if this thing is if this thing is persistent, we have created some sort of social security where comrades can reach out to one another, and we are able to come and fill these particular gaps. Now, insecurity begins with students and it ends with students. But in certain concepts, like in Moi University main campus, a problem that we're also having in Annex and School of Medical Sciences is that we are not segmented away from the society. We are within the society, where we don't have gates and wall like you guys have. So we are exposed to the society, which members of the society can come inside and commit what I would like to call atrocities. For example, in CHS 2 years ago, we had one of us who was shocked by that guy. An incident that up to date, it is alive in the minds of students. It goes from petty crime of pickpocketing, kunyongana, kupiga ngeta, and it narrows. It goes to even murdering. Yes. So the issue of insecurity can be solved in this manner. If systems are placed, like President Eremitas mentioned, where different stakeholders within the institution and without can come together and sit down and curb this problem, it disappears. When I was getting into office the 1st of July last year, we had quite a number of insecurity cases in Moi University where female students could be exposed to rape positions, right? And wizi ilikuwa mingi sana. But when we sat down with the local police administration, we were able to solve it within a period of 6 months. And 6 months MC is a long time you can even get a diploma in 6 months. So these are problems which can be solved entirely.
These are problems that can be solved. Of course, everyone looking at it from their own direction. Yeah. Kipsaro, coming to you, of course, you'll still mention something about security. Yeah. But then now also help us transition to the issue of missing marks, because how does it happen? Of course, I remember there was a time one of us alienda baka kwa lecturer nyumbani, reserve. Yeah. Akamwambia hapana, acha tumalizania hapa. Yeah.
Allow me to just go back to the economic, to having a good solution. In the year 2016 or 2015, a group of leaders, young leaders, I was part of them, former presidents of other universities, had an opportunity to sit with the president, former president, Uhuru Kenyatta. And we gave him a proposal that I still feel can actually help our students and in institutions of higher learning. This proposal was, and I really had a lot of expectations with the Hustler Fund that has come right now, because it would have easily probably fitted into the proposal. What we were proposing to the president, which he was really, really appreciative of, was that we need to start nurturing entrepreneurial spirit among our comrades as early as when they are in first or second year, so that they can transition into being opportunity creators than being opportunity seekers. So the proposal was quite simple. We said, why can't we identify 1,000 enterprises in institutions of higher learning across the country, both colleges and universities, and probably, and it's a requirement that your enterprise can be skilled, and your enterprise, after it has been nurtured and all that, can be able to hire a minimum of 20 people when it is actually at its peak. And the incubation period was about 3 to 5 years, and that is to mean when someone joins first year or second year, we already start going around universities to recruit 1,000 enterprises with an intention of creating 20,000 opportunities upon their completion of studies. And we had done our own rough estimates, and it would go to around 1 to 2 billion Kenya shillings being pumped into it, so that these students can start creating opportunities and jobs for themselves while they are still in campus. And at the point of graduation, because statistics show that we have about 100,000 graduates every year. So at the point of graduation, 20,000 are already absorbed into a job market that was created by themselves. So instead of these people thinking about burglary and going to other options of trying to address the economic issues, they would be busy creating solutions to this country while also creating opportunities for themselves. The president was very receptive. We had another appointment that never happened, unfortunately. But this is an idea that this current regime can still pick it up. And I'm really happy with what the current regime is trying to do. It's really trying to disrupt a lot of things that probably were limitations in the past. And I believe that this is a conversation we can still scale up. To date, and see whether in this hustler fund that was given 50 billion, if we can get about 5 billion Kenya shillings concentrated towards the young people in institutions of higher learning, we can transition them from being job seekers to being job creators. We can transition them from being absorbers of whatever they are being given in their education, but producers of the aftermath of education. Because I don't believe that we go to universities and colleges to just absorb content and come and apply it out here. We have to bring it out. It has to churn our creativity and intelligence so that we can be able to start being solutions, to offering solutions to our country. So that is something that I would want to still have a conversation with the current student leaders and see whether we can escalate it all the way to the current president, who is very receptive to such ideas, and it would be a good idea.
Now, before you go to the missing marks, because I
Yes.
know that's where you want to go next, of course, we are getting in feedback here. There is, of course, Kosgei Arap Sir says, okay, everyone is laughing about the issue of missing marks. Nonetheless, naona hata Liz Rokesi hapa anasema, where we can explain. Of course, Queen She says, missing marks can make one mad. Students always struggle. I can say it's what's going. Hosea Changulet says, at least institutions to formulate policy on how to deal with missing marks. It is hectic. You realize that we've talked about security, but then not so much of feedback. We've talked about the issue of help, not so much feedback. Everyone is concerned about these missing marks that actually could hinder you from achieving what you went to school to do.
Yeah, so on the issue of missing marks, I think it has been a big problem for a very long time. And even during our time, it was still there. It is still there right now. But I'm aware of what ICT has come to do in the current generation, and I really like it. We have embraced systems. Right now, most of the students can be able to book their courses online. They can be able to do their courses on a virtual space, and they can also be able to access their marks immediately after that. And what happens is when we have there's most systems they call Students Management Information System, which has a complete profile of a student from the time they get into college. It captures and it tracks their process. And you can actually see all these things on a virtual space. So the biggest solution right now is for institutions to be very serious on the way lecturers handle their business, and giving them an opportunity also with very clear timelines that within a certain period of time, and I think we managed to push more university during our time to do that, that why can't we just have a very clear program that when the exams end, within 3 weeks, a lecturer should have submitted marks for every course that they are teaching. It is possible, and when they do that, if they do it on an online space, it gives them an opportunity to finish their work and actually release the students to go to the job market. Because you cannot graduate without a marks missing. I know of people who have not graduated to date, and we were together in campus because there was a mark that missed. The lecturer was transferred to Pretoria University. they cannot be reached.
There's a guy who was told that the lecturer was in Switzerland,
Yeah,
and they've
and-
never come back, so
Yeah.
it remains a hanging issue.
Yes, and in all honesty, that is not a student's problem. If they can prove that they went to class, they attended all the lessons, they were able to sit for their cuts and they sat for their examinations, then there's no point of this student being held at ransom because of probably someone's irresponsibility. But it is again a bigger problem than what we probably see. It is not about the lecturer alone. It's about the examination processes in the university. There should be a clear process. And even the students should be made aware of the entire process. That the examination schedule starts at the point where you get to class. You have the examination process starts there. Attend a minimum of 70 or 80% of classes. Attend to your cuts. Sit for your exams. And from there, the lecturers takes over. And the examination offices within universities also take over. And we have systems within institutions of higher learning that ensure quality, like quality assurance directors are all over in all universities. So everyone, if the student do their part, the lecturer does their part, the quality assurance does their part, the examination officers do their part, we will not have an issue of missing marks. And this actually affects the quality of education in this country. If we are so keen on enhancing the quality of education in Kenya, then this is one of the biggest problems that needs to be addressed, and it can be addressed. It does not need a lot of resources because the entire value chain from the student all the way to the lecturer to the examination office is already in existence. And people are being paid, students are paying fees, everyone is doing their part. So it is something that can be addressed if these processes are done. But I am really liking what ICT is doing to us. And I believe that the laziness that have been there, the Pretoria, and someone was told that Mbuzi likula max yake sometime. No, it doesn't make sense. How does Mbuzi come into this value chain to a point of actually consuming someone's max? It doesn't make sense.
Anyway, let's go back to Kefa.
Yeah.
Of course, the issue of missing marks, I think, has I would say conclusively been handled by Kipsara Boit. ICT, of course, technology can sort this out. Coming to you, Kefa, there is the issue of job market, and of course, you said President Emeritus has already touched on it. Do you guys expect to be employed immediately you exit school? What is your expectation as you go to school?
Well, if you allow me, before I indulge on to that, to touch a little bit on the issue of missing marks, I would like to say this particularly on the missing marks. President Emeritus has bridged so many gaps, what happens in the institution of higher learning. But over the years, I've actually studied your history. Up 8 years from when you're president up to now, we still learn about you. So over the years, we have come to understand that there is some sort of lacuna within teaching and non-teaching staff, which could possibly solve the problem of missing marks once and for all. And the 35th Student Governing Council, Moi University, is going to go on record for steering a system where it's called the biometric system. Long ago, ungepata staff wanakuja shule from Monday to Wednesday, possibly anaapia Monday to be seen by the bosses, anaapia Thursday, Friday ayuko. So when lecturers teach, they submit these things to administrators, to different systems in the universities. But sasa, these guys are never there. So we sat down with the Vice Chancellor, and we found a way of possibly curbing this problem once and for all. Now, we came up with the biometric system. Now, the biometric system allows staff, non-teaching and teaching into the future, to register before 8 and register out after 5. So they have to come to school from Monday to Friday. So for those more university students who are listening, particularly, the problem of missing mark is going to be cured. It has been a cancer that we found in place. Guys have been culminating to office. Most of German bank on that one. But once they get there, they never solve it because it is beyond their power. It is ultra vires. Now, on the issue of the expectation of students when they go into the job market.
And of course, do you feel that the system is preparing you? Do you feel the system is preparing you for the job market? Have you studied the job market? Do you know what is expected of you immediately you exit by the job market?
Well, from the word economia, from the Greek founders, it means lack of. There must be somebody who lacks, and there's somebody who has for the economia system to exist. Now, it is only a student who lives under a rock who expects to go outside there and an opportunity is just waiting for them to get into and culminate through the social stratification of life. No, that's not the case. My appeal to students should be creative in your own natural ways. Find what currently in the job market there's a technical know-how instead of technical know-how, because it is a menace which is existing within the job market. The universities will do their job. They're going to expose you to academic systems which are going to sharpen you for the job market. But it is your role and duty to find a space where you're going to excel in your full potential. Now, especially in the digital era, right now with the digital era, guys who are exposed to the internet, a comrade who has a laptop and is broke should blame himself or herself. And if you wait ungoje shule umalize shule for you to go outside at job imekungoja mahali, ni ngumu, man.
Okay, watch out, we're very practical at the moment. What are you undertaking right now?
I'm taking political science, public administration.
Political science?
With keen interest in international relations. Yeah.
Keen interest in international relations.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Do you have any source of income apart from maybe not even student leadership, maybe apart from what the parents give you, and maybe if you take help, is there any other way you're making money?
Yes, we have to be creative. Unless you want to expose me to lifestyle out there. That's a topic for another day.
What President is saying is that he's okay. He's okay. He has
Mambo yake inaenda.
iko sawa. Mengiana.
Ni kama hawa rais wakitoka hapa, imagine me having 3 presidents. Ni kama nikitoka hapa leo nitakuwa sawa. Anyway, and going to towards Babu. Babu, of course, you are from a TVET institution. There's so much emphasis on TVETs, so much attention by government towards TVET at the moment. From where you sit, do you feel, of course, start by telling us the course. I had actually indicated that you should tell us that when you were starting, but mukaamua what I'm saying. Now, start by telling us the course, and also tell us, do you feel that you're ready for the job market by the time you'll be exiting?
Okay, I as a student leader am pursuing diploma in building and construction. And basically, I can say that when you talk about the job market, I can say that yes, we are ready for the job market, but the problem now is that as student leaders, we must agitate for that which is fair of us. We want to be back to that memories of 1980s, 1990s, where a person even after finishing high school could have gotten employment. Even that we can say if we could be having those companies now working, you see, as the richest man in Babylon stated that the gold we save today is the slave to work for us tomorrow. We need the government and us as the comrade leadership specifically, we must agitate for the government to at least foster for, we can say that this country, we must use our own natural resources so that we can at least have those avenues that can absorb our students. You see, KEFA is misleading our students. You see, we must call a spade a spade. There is no way, Kalia, you can tell me that today you must be creative, and yet even you cannot have that resource even to at least get you a tool or any gadget to facilitate you creating that opportunity. So I can take it that if the government is going to at least help us revive those sectors which were productive and those economic sectors that can also help our absorb our comrades who are at least get internship, so that even if they give us even 6 months internship or one year, at least the student can get that opportunity to now prepare himself and set himself for the
so basically you're saying
that
if the systems outside here work,
they
then
don't work.
Well,
okay, of course, I'm saying if.
Well,
now I'll be coming to you, Kefa. You said
right.
if the systems outside here work,
Yes.
then that means that students would have a safer landing when they're coming out of the schools. So it is a lie to say that students should get creative, because that is not what exactly exists out here. I'm bringing the debate to your doorstep, Kefa, because you've been mentioned.
Well, in philosophy, you're told is the art of the educated mind to entertain thoughts but not accept them. What I really meant was the universities and institutions are preparing us for the job market. But Kipsaro Boit, President Eremitas will tell us, is the job market ready for us? No, it is not. Now, if it is not ready for us, it is us to place ourselves in a position, and because we have the power to be creative. That's among the gifts of human beings. It is, I am sure, Kiongozi, for you to be our commentator today here, it is through your creative means, imaginations, which has gotten you there. Now, universities students across all universities should come to the realization that the institutions are going to expose you to academic excellence. But the job market is not waiting. We are not living in Scandinavian countries where unamaliza tu shule and the government is picking you and placing you in a system where you start earning immediately. In the country, you study 844 right now that they are changing it to the CBC system, and then you wait again for about 4 years, tamarking, looking for job opportunities which are not there, and possibly that's among the reason why guys are going into
But Babu is saying that maybe if systems out here worked, if companies that are supposed to work were working, then there was something that could be done.
Well,
so then where do you stand as the student leaders? Is
well,
there a way you can prompt the system?
Well, I sit in a position where I understand that I am in a developing state.
Can you prompt a system? Do you think as student leaders there's a way you can prompt the system?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. President Eremitas gave us a module that they had adapted during their time. If this can be adapted into the current system, it could work. But I live in the realization.
Okay, now let's fix this. If this could be adopted, what is this?
He spoke about a system module where the government.
I want you to give me your own imagination, Mr. Babu, of what this, because you've said severally this. So what is this system? And of course, how can we fix it from your own imagination?
Well, looking at institutions in the state, something that I've adopted actually in Moi University. We are in the digital era of the laptop. We are looking at internet coins, right? We are looking at the forex exchange market. We're looking at the stock. These are things which you could begin with little money and compound it to larger amounts. Because I live in the space and time that I understand that I'm in a developing or arguably underdeveloped state. Now, before we get to the developed state where systems are just placed to absorb people into the job market, we must survive. It is our choice to be on the menu or being on the table discussing the menu. Now, I urge all students in every institution of higher learning in the country to devise methods of survival. Because if you do not, life will eat you up.
And of course, the question will be, how long can we survive? Kipsara Boit, now as the senior, finish up this conversation.
Let me tell them the truth. Guys, I like the conversation.
Before you go there, tunasemaga sijui ugoje kwanza ama waambie ukweli.
Acha niseme tu ukweli express. This has been my journey, Bwana President. When I was leaving campus, I came out not to look for jobs, but to create jobs. That was my biggest intention. I'm actually an alumni of ISEC in Moi. And what ISEC Moi made me do, and ISEC generally made me do, was to just blow up my mind. It blew up my mind on the potential that we have, that we can exploit and actually achieve something from nothingness. So, Mr. President, Babu, let me tell you the truth, my brother. It's not likely to be possible that in our current situation of affairs in this country, comrades can just come out on a silver platter and land on jobs. It is not. And I will tell you that I'm not predicting doom, but it is what the current situation is. We appreciate your concerns of the things that the government failed in the past to actually maximize on its potential to ensure that those opportunities are created. But we are not going to sit down and wait for someone else to solve our problems. If we adopt that mentality as this generation, then we are going to be doomed forever. I have intentions of being president of this country in future. Maybe I've just made an announcement. One?
Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Very nice. So I'm actually targeting Kalia. I'm going public on this for the first time. I still have intentions to lead this country someday.
Okay, then I need to give you a camera. Maybe we need to dedicate a camera to you at the end of the show for you to do the. Okay.
There's no problem.
I can see my producer is already adjusting for.
That's okay, but I want to tell you this.
Then now that my producer has set for that, now address this camera. Now make the public announcements. Okay. And let's work on this dream.
That's okay. I have intentions of being the president of this country in future. And not a very long future, and we're working on that. And I'm saying we because it's a massive movement that we are looking forward to transform in this country. I would be the saddest president if the kind of people I'll be leading are people who do not want to solve their own problems. I would be the saddest president if the people around me would be depending on me to actually solve their problems. Why? Because I'll have my own to actually solve. We need to activate the creative mind of our people to actually provide solutions to the problems that you're facing. Because the government does not have monopoly of knowledge, monopoly of solutions, monopoly of everything. We are actually the people to come out, advise the government, give our voices to the way the President Babu is saying. He's saying that you revive FLOSPA, and those people in FLOSPA are going to benefit. Revive KCC, revive all this. That is the role that we have as a people to actually tell government, we know where the problem is and we have solutions for that. I'd be a happier president if the people I'm going to lead are going to actually be part of the solution and not be the people who will be creating problems for us to solve. I don't think that is going to be a country I would want to lead. So I wanted to say something on myself and the job market. Immediately I got out of campus, I actually said I'm not going to look for employment. And I had the target. I said the minimum salary I'm going to earn for my first job is 150,000. That was what I had set for myself. Because I knew my value, I knew my worth, I knew my skills and all that. And because that was not going to be possible, I started BOMAC Communications. And I hired myself. I actually did my post attachment in my company. I did not go for attachment in any other organization. I used to come here in Zion Mall. These are the wing. And that is where my company was operating from. So I used to do graphic designs, consult for public relations and all that in 2015 in BOMAC Communications. My lecturer, who was supervising me for my attachment, came to Zion Mall outside here at the parking lot and did a supervision from the parking lot. And I actually got a 69. He refused to give me an A, but he was really interested in what I was doing. So I was my own supervisor in my own attachment, and it actually worked. And I did BOMAC Communications for 1 year, but it was not breaking even because of the challenges we were taking to the president. And this is how serious we are in solving our own problems. I realized that I had a company, but I lacked some small bit of support to actually build it up. Maybe right now, it would be one of the biggest communications companies in this country. But because I did not have someone to hold my hand, I had to go back and start looking for employment. That same spirit of creating opportunities has never disappeared. And Bwana President, I also tried something called MUSIP, Moi University Students Internship Program. The intention of that program was to have students being job shadowed and supporting the students build their profiles while they are still in university, so that while they transition into the job market, they have already been exposed to some organizations. So we were going to partner with the leading corporates within the country so that we create an opportunity for students to do job shadowing. It would start as a volunteer process, then organizations would transition them into internship, and then probably retain them when their talents have actually been discovered. And that was something that was supposed to happen at those days. But because of the systems and everything that was not allowing us, we could not proceed. But I want us to think as young people. We don't need to wait for someone else. And really, Babu, I'd really appreciate the course you're doing, building technology. That's amazing. And you can come out here as a contractor. You don't need to even wait for someone else to go and do some things. You should be taken through a process of doing your own entity, coming out here and looking for opportunities through access to government procurement opportunities for the youth. And you can actually start creating opportunities for yourself and your colleagues. This gentleman here is pursuing a very serious course that he himself can start consultancies on international affairs for organizations. And it is very possible. But at what point do we trigger those thoughts among our people? That is something that we need to start transitioning into, so that while the government is dealing with the high cost of living and these other things, you are dealing with trying to solve your own problems and actually getting to it. I'm a living example of someone who started from nothing to something. I can't say I'm yet there, but honestly, I have really tried my best to work my way all the way up. And one last to finish. There was a question you asked when you were starting, and you asked why I'm emotional about leadership and all that. It is because it's my life. Without being in leadership, without having exposed myself to trying to provide solutions to people that were within my vicinity, I would not be there. And that's why I'm emotional about this. But I would want us to start shifting this leadership into solution-oriented, where we are inspiring our people to have their own solutions and actually be part of the solution in the current problem that this country is facing.
Okay, thank you. Now, time is not on our side. We have almost 10 minutes. So I'll give you each 2 minutes on the topic I'm going to introduce next. The issue of tribalism in Kenya. Because clearly, it is a barrier. As much as people say we could have positive ethnicity towards these things, at the end of it all, it has become a barrier. And I'll start with Babu. Let's talk about the issue of tribalism in Kenya. First of all, do you agree that it is a barrier? And if it is a barrier, how are we going to sort this out? Will we ever convert it into something positive?
Okay, talking about the issue of tribalism, I believe and I also understand that it is a barrier. Because even today, at the state that we are in as a country, for you to be who you are, you must come from a certain community. You must come from a certain ethnic line. And that is why I cannot shy away to say that we are still a country being dependent on tribal lines, so that we can at least make that government, we can form a structure in governance of this country. So my view, according to this, is that how I wish we reach to that point that our generation will be aspiring to lead this country in a meritocratic way, not in that tribalistic, ethnistic. And that is why to this far, I'm even yearning to change my name to Babu, because I want to fit in that line of being a neutral person, so that we can bring this country to that state that you must not be a Luo so that you can be in opposition. You must not be a Kalenjin so that you can be in government. You must not be a Kikuyu so that you can be a businessman. We want to create a fair country and a fair community by us leaders. We are still at that developing stage, having that positive attitude of getting this country to be a meritocratic country, being led in a meritocratic manner. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Kefa, you have your 2 minutes about tribalism.
I honestly would beg for more minutes, but I understand we are limited on time. The issue of ethnicity, it's very personal to me, because I happen to have the mixed ethnicity, which my strong ethnicity being paternal. Now, the issue of ethnicity in the country is so much politicized that for moving the country forward becomes a problem. Kipsaro, when you'll be the president of the country, it is important to find a system which will accommodate most communities in positions of power. And if this is not met, your government should be prepared for a recession.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
absolutely. I agree with you.
Because my backyard, I come from Nairobi, but my backyard is in Homa Bay. Now, ever since I was born, my people have been in opposition. I am not ready to die and leave them in opposition.
Have you read history? They've actually never been together.
Totally. We have been second fiddle, deputy president there, under house arrest. Some funny political gizmics and gizmos, which has not allowed the full potential of our people. Now, diversity is a beautiful thing enshrined in our constitution, but Kenyan politicians are using it to culminate to positions of power. Now, how can ethnicity be capped? The government system should be...
I want to ask you a very direct question now that you're already eating up my 2 minutes. I'll just ask a very direct question. Did you, while vying, in one way, have to play the card of tribalism or something for you to win the seat you are currently in? If not, what was the strategy?
Totally not. The institution I hail from...
I can already see you trying to look at your personal assistant.
Totally not. And the reason I say this, is out of 35 chairmen, possibly 17 have been from the local community. And half of the remaining has been from the other side because of the aggressive nature that the people see the potential in electing. Now, ever since Boit came into office, there have been, in 8 years, there have been five local leaders. Two from the other side. Now you see, this has placed us. For example, when I was running, I had to convince the people because I understand that the
What was your convincing strategy? Did you have to
It was
consider
quite
tribe
simple.
at some point?
No, it was quite simple. You have to accommodate some sense of ethnicity for you to have a national outlook.
Yeah.
We call it national outlook, not ethnicity. For you to get to that position.
Yeah.
So it's quite inevitable, but these are realities that we should get into. But in the national government, policy experts should come with a formula of accommodating the major communities in governance. If that is not the case, Kipsaro Boy, during our time, Mr. President, we'll have to cut this country into two.
Absolutely. But
Okay, somebody yesterday said we need to cut this country into everyone. Kila mtu apewe yake.
I want to weigh into this thing. I would be very honest. When I was running for office, I actually wanted to run on a national platform, the same way President has said. But a majority of comrades from a certain community resonated with my candidature. I could not refuse. In so many debates, everyone used to say, boy, you are tribal, boy, you are this, but people would go and rally behind me. And coincidentally, they come from the same community. How do I say no? And I'm here asking for votes. There were certain communities, that could not resonate with my candidature completely. Not for any good reason. But I want to surprise you, my friend. I am also a cocktail of two communities. Of course, the same way you said with paternity being the dominant one. My wife is also a cocktail of two communities, different ones from the ones I come from. So what does that leave our son and daughter to be? A cocktail of 4 communities.
So you're saying that's how we sort out this thing?
And I won't say that, but that's what is happening in my life right now. And I can tell you for sure, a product, this cocktail of 4 communities is giving me challenge every day in the morning. My son, he's very young, about 5 years old. But this guy is having some serious conversations with me. And I'm trying to ask myself, is this probably a solution towards going into the future, where we need to just mingle and mingle and mingle? Another thing is that ethnicity is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It gives you identity, it gives you culture, it gives you a way of life. But we have used it for negative ethnicity, where now we are using it to hurt instead of to build. When you attend cultural events and you see how Maasai used to live in the past, why are we still saying live in the past? It should be the current. Why are we looking at how Luos used to do, yet they are still Luos right now? We need to see how they are doing it. And we need to enjoy the positive part of ethnicity. And we don't need to really do away with it completely. But we just need to transform it from being a negative ethnicity to being a positive ethnicity. And
take us through that.
Yes.
Negative to positive. Because everyone talks about it. Have we ever? But we've never sat down as a country to first of all celebrate ethnicity in itself.
Yeah. In fact, we're probably Kalia, one of the events, maybe this year or next year, it should be somewhere themed around ethnicity, so that we can actually appreciate what ethnicity can do to this country. When we read history, you are told that Kalenjins were people who had a lot of like for cattle. The guys along the river Lake Nilotes were very good in fishing and activities around the lake and river and around the rivers. The Kushites had their own thing, the Bantus and all that. And that was bringing a very good diversity. And if we were even to model the same thing that was there in the past into our current economic activities, we empower the blue economy, the people around the blue economy are going to benefit absolutely. We empower agriculture. In areas where agriculture is, alongside our ethnic and everything, that will be the positive ethnicity, where if I know of a certain community, I know that these are the guys who are going to fix it for us on this side. Negative ethnicity has affected us through politics and through economy. Those are the things that negative ethnicity has actually affected very badly. When I want to run for office, for example, I'll first run to my people. And I tell them, yes, I'm yours, you guys need to support me. I talk to them and they say, you are now our kingpin. And then we start saying it's us against them. But you see, at the end of the day, I will be the leader of everyone. And I was so much at pains because when I was competing with George Bush, had I pulled the card, there was one card I wanted to pull, but it was quite sensitive. Had I pulled the card like this, then I would have completely finished my friend George Bush. And probably you can have a guess of the card that I was going to push. Exactly. I would have.
Of course, we need to start wrapping up these.
We took Kenyatta out of elections. We took everyone out of elections. I said, let me save the best for the last, and finally we finished it. But honestly speaking, negative ethnicity has affected us negatively, because when you go to Kisumu right now, they are within this country. When you go to whichever part of this country, they are within this country. They are enjoying national resources. They should enjoy national resources, because all of us are carrying the tax burdens. But we should not fragment our country into these ethnic lines. And there's something that the president, the current president, has tried to do. And you see what I was asking, that what if my candidature is good, but a certain group of people are feeling that I should not lead? How would you blame me for being tribal?
So you have to really pull that card.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the card. But what I'm saying is, if the president and the current crop of leaders, even in universities, I like what Bwana Babu has said, that he wants to create a space where every person feels represented. Because the problems are cutting across. Hakuna shida ya Wakalenjin ambayo haiaffect wa Somali. Hakuna shida ya certain community that does not affect the other. Tukienda wote supermarket, wasemi Kasabweni Kale, nunua na this price. Wewe ni lugha gani nunua na, we all buy the same. We all spend the same. When you look at the pay slips of some of us, we are taxed bana, mbaya sana. Na ni the same, not because of our identities. So if our problems are the same, what should divide us? Yeah, what should divide us into our tribal lines? Because there is no one who has a special tax because of their tribal whatever. So it should not be used to disenfranchise some communities. It should not. The sad story that Opas has just shared, that his community has always been on the other side of the political divide, should end very soon. And I promise you, Opas, bana, I keep on nikiwa president.
Anyway, of course, that's already a deal that exists. We've seen such deals,
Yes.
and it's not taken as anywhere positive. Anyway, I think one of these particular days we'll just have a day to talk about ethnicity and positive ethnicity, because we realize Babu really wanted to say something, but then time is already not giving us any chance to say more. So I'll just give you a chance to get your parting shot in 30 seconds, then we shall be off.
Okay, my parting shot of this show today, I just want to express my urge to the comrades and all the student leadership across this nation. Let us be the reflection of what happens in the society. Let us agitate for that era that comradeship was the fourth arm of government. The real opposition are the comrades, not that opposition that we are seeing today. We need the comrades to be the real opposition, because they are the one facing all these problems. Even the opposition leader himself in office today is enjoying a lot than what a comrade enjoys. So my parting shot that I can give it as a footnote is that let us build our sphere as comrades, so that we can give government on check. At least we have that life of a comrade be a better life through our agitation as the comrade leadership. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Kefa.
Yes. Well, my message goes to all university students in the country and all citizens of Kenya. Now, in these hard economic times, it is important to note, Plato told us, the moment we stop talking, we start fighting. Let us not forget the unity of purpose that humanity has endowned on us. Let us not forget the value of human dignity, of having conversations to foster into the future. And if we do that, we are going to live a better world than we found it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Bwana Kipsaro.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate Kalia. You have created an opportunity for us to have this conversation. And I get so passionate about this because it's where the solution lies. And I really like what you said, that if we stop talking, we start fighting. We have to talk and converse continuously. What we have said here today may not be things that will be achieved here today, but someday we will be able to see these conversations coming to life. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I wish that the young people of this country, and in fact this is a challenge to the current student leaders, some people think that it died, but you guys are still alive. Please take up the comrade spirit I like what Babu said. You guys talk into the issues that are affecting the young people right now. We are still here. We will support you. We'll be able to mentor you whichever way that we can. And we will want to create more spaces for young people to take up their space. Because if you don't do that, then the future that we are looking into will be a messed up future. And we will not blame the generations of this current generation that are in positions of power. We will blame ourselves for having failed to talk into the future and to actually shape what the future has for this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, gentlemen. For making time to be with us. Thank you so much. I can see Dolce Events Planner saying following. It keenly. The conversation is very important in our current dispensation. Fanuel George says, very informative and educative. Thank you, the Morning Glory Show team. Hosea Changulet says, I think I'd already read that. Jen Boyd says, Kefa, you are the star of the day. Kudos, sir. Thank you so much. Of course, I can see more feedback coming in here. Ellen B. Watt saying, Victor Babu, congratulations. Belta Marthim says, our own Victor Babu, thank you so much. Honorable Edison Rotich says, I'm now happy to hear Kipsara Boyd that he wants to be the president. Great minds. Thank you so much for that. Mercy Jerome Sirgoi says, vocational colleges should provide opportunities for the youth to learn basic skills that can improve employability and innovation. Of course, one of those topics that I'll also be bringing soon would be TVETs against universities, because you realize that also that remains an issue that we may need to talk about today. As we continue, I can see CK Kim says, good morning, following live from Eldoret. Thank you so much. Of course, I may not get a chance to read all the comments. Somebody asked, hapo kwa kuinama, what do we need to do if I'm told I have nothing for lunch? Of course, we'll still talk also about nasikia lunch ikikuja, unaipatia heshima zake inapita. And actually, these are real issues that we need to talk about. Of course, thank you so much, everyone who made time to be with us. Yvonne Noble Chepchumba, thank you so much. Edison Rotich, thank you so much. Kipkemai Joffrey, thank you so much. Mildred Sum, thank you so much. I have not read Kiptom Merme, thank you so much. Terry Jerry, thank you so much for making time to be with us. Not read so many messages. Jacob Bruto, Silas Bet, and all the others. Thank you so much for making time to be with us this particular morning. Just to remind you, if you ever get interest in fashion, walk into D-Square School of Fashion Design. D-Square School of Fashion Design equips you with requisite skills to actually dress people to be addressed. Just adjacent to it is D-Square Fashion House, giving you a chance to also get experience from real work environment. What exactly you are talking about? Do you have employability skills? D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring is giving you exactly that, because immediately you exit class, you walk into the fashion house and you are able to do the practical bit of it. Nonetheless, we've been coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. This is the Morning Glory Show. The Morning Glory Show remains the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya today, and Dawi Afrique remains the most efficient and the most reliable. My producer already forcing me out of the studio. Nonetheless, Dawi Afrique remains the best photography and videography production studio to date. And if you're looking forward to having ceremonies, of course, we have the April, May, and June season coming up. That is where you need us most, because you need well-documented memories and a good experience in front of the camera. My name is MC Kalia, and until tomorrow, this is the Morning Glory Show.